Gathering around. Testing 1, 2. We're gathering around. We're gathering around. We're starting out playing the, hello? Yeah. Okay, well, we're starting out the evening playing a jam, and if you're one of the people that usually plays in the jam, that's great. Come on up. We're going to play 3 tunes in D. Good evening. Welcome to the 50th Fraley Festival. And I'm Barb Coons, and I sort of, if things go wrong, I'm the one to talk to and blame. Everybody else who helps with this festival can do no wrong. They're really great, and I really appreciate it. So, okay. Oh, I think we have a critical mass. How critical are you all? Well, so we'll start off with Arkansas Traveler, and we usually just play it through 3 times. And that's what we need more fiddlers up here, please. Steve, Andrew. All right, Marshall. That's the old Arkansas Traveler. I think up next we'll do a little bit of whiskey before breakfast. He said, we're going to do whiskey before breakfast, and they said, yes. Yeah, this is medicinal whiskey before breakfast.
It's not Sunday, it's Thursday.
Okay. Why don't you start it, Andrew? standings. Okay, well, we have one more, and it's, actually we changed it to Mississippi. We had a big jam last night up in the campground. It was really wonderful, and I don't think we played Mississippi Sawyer. So we didn't, yeah. So we have to make up for that.
We do. So we're going to play twice then?
No, we're going to play it 3 times. We have our rules, you know. Okay. Mississippi Sawyer. Thank you, Jammers. I think that's all.
Thank you, Barb.
Yeah, we appreciate you all coming up to give us a good start to the 50th festival. So, up next, we have one of our bands that traditionally plays on Thursday night, both sides of the Ohio. And it'll take a second, but I'll get the other mic and maybe not. Hello? Okay. Not in front of the speaker, they say. Am I okay? Can you hear me? Good. Anyhow, we have a group of folks, both sides. Feel free to get chairs or have someone help you get chairs. We have our assistants, Linda and Andrew, and they're helping tonight. Anyhow, we have a lot to celebrate this year. We're glad to have people back and playing together again. It's really, I get emotional about it sometimes because it's really great. And mostly I'm just very happy. Last night in the campground, we played every known D tune to man except Mississippi Sawyer. And it felt so good, you know, all those wonderful dance tunes. It was really great. So I really appreciate that. Is this a mixture of 2 Dulcimer clubs? Is that right, or is it one? Oh, they are one. And okay, they live on both sides of the river, but they play in one club. And this is in the Cincinnati, northern Kentucky area. And what else do I want to say? One of the things that happened this year is Andrew Bevan decided we need a 50th anniversary T-shirt. And he designed it, he got it together to have them here. And so there's a few for sale over here. Get them while they're hot. I think some more are coming in tomorrow night. Tomorrow night and Saturday we'll also have some CDs and people's projects to sell. We're getting there. Okay. Alrighty. Oh. We're almost there. Yeah, I never knew how to talk to begin with, and after 3 years, I have to remember. Yeah. Does it sound like, all right, well, here is both sides of the Ohio.
Get right on me, aren't you?
I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande, but my legs ain't bowed and my cheeks ain't tan. I'm a cowboy who never saw a cow, never roped a steer 'cause I don't know how. Sure ain't a fixin' to start it now. Yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay, yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay. I'm an old cowhand from the Rio Grande, and I learned to ride, oh, I learned to stand. I'm a riding fool who is up to date. I know every trail in the Lone Star State, 'cause I ride the range in a Ford V8. Yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay, yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay, yippee-yi-yo-ki-yay.
Like Barb said, we are both sides of the river, but we're mainly Hills of Kentucky Dulcimers. And we have about 100 people in our club in the Cincinnati area up there in northern Kentucky. But we're the representatives that are down here tonight. And for our next tune, we'd like for you to participate with us. Every time the chorus comes around, if you would sing for us, sing with us. It's Buffalo Gals.
As I was walking down the street, down the street, down the street, a pretty little girl I chanced to meet, and we danced by the light of the moon. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight, come out tonight. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon? I stopped her and we had a talk, had a talk, had a talk. Her feet looked up the whole sidewalk and left no room for me. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight, come out tonight. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon? I asked her if she have a dance, have a dance, have a dance. I asked her if she had a chance to shake her foot. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight, come out tonight. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon? Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight, come out tonight. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon?
Thank you, and if any of you are in the campground and want to come around and join us in our jams, we're up there jamming just about every afternoon.
All right. Both sides of the Ohio, thank you so very much. Okay, well, I'll get out of here. Let's see, I'll move this chair, get you out of the way. Up next, I'm really delighted to have a young man who came here as a child. He hasn't been here for 9 years, but we enjoyed his fiddling then. And his name's Jordan Hess, and his friend Lizzie are going to play. And I'm just really pleased they're back to share their music with us. And what's kind of neat is he has learned to make violins, and he now lives in Utah making violins. So, but now he's going to make fiddle music. Okay, try now, she says. So Jordan said, well, I usually like to travel with my own fiddles because if something happens, I know how to repair my own fiddle. That might not be a direct quote, but I still thought it was great.
away, ladies.
Oh, this is me on.
This is G, right? Ooh. Yeah. Mighty fine. Okay, Margaret's Ross.
Well, that was really lovely. Most of you might remember that last piece, Margaret's Waltz, being played by J.P. Fraley, and he brought out that feeling. It was really wonderful. So I'm really glad Jordan came. I think he'll play tomorrow night on the regular concert too. So its grandmother will be here, so that'll be great. Up next, we have two of the people that were just accompanying, so they're moving as fast as they can, but that'll be Doug Smith and Floyd Alexander with a little bit of steel guitar music. So here they are. We always said Floyd's one of the best backup men in the business. When we need to back up our truck, we ask Floyd Alexander. But a close second is Doug Smith. He's awful good, too. Floyd and Doug are from Ohio. Floyd's from Champaign County and Doug from Clark County, and they get together almost once a week to play some music. So we're glad to get a little taste of that tonight.
Thanks, Barb. We came up this afternoon and came up to put up the banners and put up the pictures, and the place had been painted, and there are these rugs, and the old speakers they hadn't used for 30 years were gone, and how about that? Well, upgrade, yeah. I think Paul Tierney's got a whole lot to do with that, so thank you, Paul. Play E chord for me, please. Okay, we're going to try to do another JP tune. JP and Andy Dean used to sing an old Hank Snow tune called A Fool Such As I think Andy Dean used to introduce it as A Fool Such As You, talking directly to JP. We'll do just a little intro. Pardon me if I'm sentimental when we say goodbye. Don't be angry with me, darling, though I cry. When you're gone, I will dream a little dream as the years go by. Now and then there's a fool such as I. Now and then there's a fool such as I am over you. You taught me how to love, and now you say we are through. I'm a fool, but I love you, dear, until the day I die. Now and then there's a fool such as I. Now and then there's a fool such as I am over you. You taught me how to love, and now you say we are through. I'm a fool, but I love you, dear, until the day I die. Now and then there's a fool such as I. You're very kind, thank you.
The reason Greg and I get together, try to get together every week is so I don't forget.
Okay, somebody else we won't see again is Bodie and Jennings Morgan. And this is one, Bodie gave me a tape of them, so it's not something I ever heard him play live, but it's an old Arthur Smith piece called The Crazy Blues. In the key of G. Okay, we've got one more. Thank you for, you're very kind. Here's one. Someone gave me a record of Jerry Byrd doing this, and I had never really heard it before. And, well, we just call it Kaboom. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Floyd Alexander and Doug Smith. Well, next up is a young woman who goes to Moorhead. She's in the traditional music program there. Boy, you got that out of your case fast. I'm impressed. Oh, okay. So anyhow, I got another friend who's going to be here Saturday. Had told her, we enjoy hearing all kinds of fiddling and everything. And so she wrote and said, well, how about if I come? I said, well, Thursday night would be great. And here she is. This is Haley King. And we can move this mic forward, but I'll leave it all up to you then.
Well, I'm very happy to be here. I'm from the state of South Carolina, but I came up to Kentucky for the traditional music program at Moorhead State, and I'm very glad that I did because it has opened so many doors for me musically and helped me to have experience with squealing microphones. And it's given me more confidence on stage, which is something that I've always wanted to work on. I'm going to play a couple of tunes for y'all today. The first one I'm going to do is a fiddle tune by Snake Chapman. It's called Mad as a Hornet. But I'm going to tune first. Learned it this morning. Thank you. This next one I did not learn today, and it's called Free Little Bird. I first heard it by Bruce Molsky and his Mountain Drifters, and it's something I've always wanted to learn to sing and play the fiddle at the same time, and this is a song that I learned to do that with, so I hope y'all enjoy it. I'm as free a little bird as I can be. I'm as free a little bird as I can be. I'll build my nest in a weeping willow tree where the bad boys cannot bother me. And I'll never build my nest on the ground, on the ground. I'll never build my nest on the ground. I'll build my nest in a weeping willow tree where the bad boys cannot tear me down. from the bee. I'll never steal the honey from the bee. I'll steal me a kiss from my sweet darling's lips, and I'll fly away across the sea. I'm as free a little bird as I can be, I can be. I'm as free a little bird as I can be. I'll build my nest in a weeping willow tree, where the bad boys cannot bother me. And I'll never build my nest in the air, in the air. I'll never build my nest in the air. I'll build my nest on my true lover's breast, and I'll sleep in the locks of his hair. I'm as free a little bird as I can be, I can be. I'm as free a little bird as I can be. I'll build my nest in a weeping willow tree, where the bad boys cannot bother me. Thank you. Make sure I'm in tune one more time. All right, and the last song I'm gonna do is a waltz. It's called The Blackest Crow. And I usually sing this one, but I haven't gotten to the point where I can sing and play that one at the same time, so I'm just gonna play it as a waltz. Thank you.
Is it my phone? I don't know. Haley King, who goes to Moorhead. That was really lovely music. we don't always get to hear, so it was really great. Okay, well, up next, we have Joe Cook from Yellow Springs, Ohio, which is up near where I live. And he's a faithful attendee to the festival. He's come to the storytelling, he's played. And so we're inviting him up tonight to sing a song or two.
In the Appalachian tradition and in many other traditions, there's unaccompanied voice. That's just something that people do just about everywhere. So this is a song from the Canadian tradition, the Maritimes of Canada. The story of this, based on, it's the story of the schooner called the Nellie J. Banks. Now, the Canadian government made a stamp with a picture of the Nellie J. Banks on it. Now, the Nellie J. Banks was a rum runner. There was prohibition in Prince Edward Island from 1901 to 1948. And during that period, of course, when you have prohibition, you have a market. Now, there are a couple of little islands off the coast of Newfoundland called Saint-Pierre and Miquelon that are actually part of France. They're departments in the French Republic. And so they are a source for the market that was on Prince Edward Island at this time. So this is a song about that event. Now, what happened is they caught the bootleggers. They caught the people, and they confiscated the boat, and they sold it at auction. And the same people that owned it bought it back. So that's what that's about. She left Saint-Pierre on the 10th of May, Prince Edward Island bound. For the winter's all done, and there's very little rum in the harbors and in the town. And the fishermen watch for the dirty sail as they crawl on Tracadie Bay. And they give a great shout when they finally figure out Nellie Banks is on her way. There's rum in the hold of the Nellie J. Banks, Prince Edward Island bound. Late on a night when the moon shines bright, you can find her off Georgetown. There's Captain Lillington at the helm, he comes from Newfoundland. And there's always a bottle of brandy on deck and an extra case on hand. He's drunk and he holds a leeward stance, but he sails the schooner true. And the government cutters simply fall astern when he shows what the Banks can do. There's rum in the hold of the Nellie J. Banks, Prince Edward Island bound. Late on a night when the moon shines bright, you can find her off Georgetown. Now the government cutters hug the shore with a glass upon Rum Row, for they know if the Banks is out on the bay that a runner is sure to show. And Lillington keeps her 4 miles out for the boundary, it is 3. But late on a night when the cutter's out of sight, he'll slip into a lee. There's rum in the hold of the Nellie J. Banks, Prince Edward Island bound. Late on a night when the moon shines bright, you can find her off Georgetown. One August night in the pale moonlight with the Banks off Shoal Point shore, a shot rang out and a voice began to shout, heave to or we'll fire more. And the morning light brought a terrible sight as the Banks was hauled away. No more will the Nellie J. Banks run rum, no more will the fishermen say. There's rum in the hold of the Nellie J. Banks, Prince Edward Island bound. Late on a night when the moon shines bright, you can find her off Georgetown. There's rum in the hold of the Nellie J. Banks. I saw her sail today. You can find her at night when the moon don't shine, 4 miles off Tracadie Bay. Thank you. Another Canadian song, but this is one that I really think in the times we're in, this is an appropriate thing for us to remember. This is a Stan Rogers song. Stan was a great songwriter and singer, and this is one of his. Let me do that again. I just learned this morning. I wish I could do that well. Okay. I think here. Okay. I've only done this song about 1,000 times. I don't know. Let me do another song, and then I'll maybe remember that one. Okay, this is a song that comes from the west coast of England, by a man named Ewan McCall, and the BBC did a show where they interviewed all these old fishermen, and people had been in the herring fisheries, and so fishing is another thing that's in every tradition, and so this is that one. With our nets and gear we're faring on the wild and wasteful ocean. 'Tis there on the deep that we harvest and reap our bread, as we hunt the bonny shoals of herring. It was on a fair and a pleasant day, out of Yarmouth Harbour I was faring, as a cabin boy on a sailing lugger, hunting for the bonny shoals of herring. Oh, the work was hard and the hours were long, and the treatment sure it took some bearing. There was little kindness and the kicks were many, as we hunted for the shoals of herring. Oh, we left the home ground in the month of June, and to Kenny Shields we soon were bearing, with 100 cran of the silver darlings that we'd taken from the shoals of herring. You're up on deck, you're a fisherman, you can swear and a manly bearing, and would you take your watch with the other fellas as we hunt for the shoals of herring? Oh, we fished the swarth and this broken bank, and was cook and had a quarter sharing, and I used to sleep standing on my feet, and I'd dream about the shoals of herring. In the there are a lot of words in these songs. In the summer storms and the wintry gales, to break your bread that you are daring, from the Dover Straits to the Faroe Islands, as we're hunting for the shoals of herring. Oh, you're net ropeman now, and you're on the move, and you're learning all about seafaring. As your education, scraps of navigation, as you hunt the bonny shoals of herring. Oh, I worked my hay and I paid my way, and I earned the gear that I was wearing, and I caught 10 million fish, sailed 10 million miles, as we hunted for the shoals of herring. Night and day we're faring, come wind or calm or winter gales, sweating or cold, growing up, growing old, or dying, as we hunt the bonny shoals of herring. Okay, we'll try Mary Ellen Carter again here. She went down last October in a pouring, driving rain. The skipper, he'd been drinking, and the mate felt no pain. Too close to 3 Mile Rock, and she was dealt a mortal blow, and the Mary Ellen Carter settled low. There were 5 of us aboard her when she finally went awash. We fought like hell to save her, all heedless of the cost. And the groan she made as she went down, it caused us to proclaim that the Mary Ellen Carter would rise again. rise again, rise again, that her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. Those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Well, the owners wrote her off, not a nickel would they spend. She gave 20 years of service, boys, and met her sorry end. Insurance paid the loss to them, they let her rest below. They laughed at us and said we had to go. But we talked of her all winter, some days around the clock. She's worth $250,000 a-floating at the dock. And with every jar that hit the bar, we swore we would remain and make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again, that her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. Those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. All spring now we've been with her on a barge lent by a friend. 3 dives a day in hard hat suit, and twice I've had the bends. God, it's only 60 feet, and the currents here are slow, or I'd never have the strength to go below. But we patched her rents, stopped her vents, dogged hatch and porthole down, picked tables to her fore and aft, and skirted her around. Tomorrow noon we hit the air, and then take up the strain and watch the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again, that her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. Those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. For we couldn't leave her there, you see, to crumble into scale. She'd saved our lives so many times, living through the gale. And the laughing drunken rats who left her to a sorry grave, they won't be laughing in another day. And you, to whom adversity has dealt the final blow, with smiling bastards lying to you everywhere you go, turn to and put out all your strength of arm and heart and brain, and make Mary Ellen Carter rise again, rise again, rise again, though your heart it be broken and life about to end. No matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, like the Mary Ellen Carter rise again, rise again, rise again, though your heart it be broken and life about to end. No matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, like the Mary Ellen Carter rise again.
That was really nice, Joe Cook. We really enjoyed those tales and man, that's a lot of words too. That's all I could say. Anyhow, all right. Well, up next is a person I just met yesterday, Benya Stewart. He lives in the Athens, Ohio area and has played with people I know, but I've just never met him before. So he suggested last night when it was his turn on the jam to play Mud Fence, which is one of JP's tunes that you don't hear very often. And I was like, oh, wow, he plays Mud Fence. So that was pretty neat. So I don't know much else about the music he plays, but I think I'm going to learn a little bit. So here is Benya Stewart.
Sure. Hello. Whew. Spicy. I'm here because I am friends with Matt Stallard and his family, and I've been learning the mandolin since COVID started, and learning old fiddle tunes has been a significant part of that, and Matt has been a great resource for me. Thank you, brother. That sounds good. But I do a lot of things apart from old-time music too. It's not really my main focus. I write original music, and I also play a lot of Eastern European folk music, strangely enough. I've been involved in some fundraising for Ukraine right now. I've been doing Ukrainian music projects since several years before the war started. So I'm going to play a little bit of that just to keep things fresh. And I'll also sing one because the gentleman has been very inspiring, and I sing some songs as well. So a little smattering here. This first one is a Ukrainian song. It's a very, very famous, very popular song over there, and if you like it, well, maybe I'll do a second one, but it's called Oyu Hayu Pridunayu, and it's about a lover thinking about her lost love, and he was a musician, which I'm sure we've all been in love with musicians before, and she's going through this sensory memory of him and his band playing in the woods, and she's like remembering this and thinking about him. So.
Ою гаю придунаю, соловей шевече, він стую зі пташину, до гніздечка кличе. Ой, чок-чок, і чок-чок, соловей шевече, він стую зі пташину, до гніздечка кличе. Ой, чок-чок, і чок-чок-чок, соловей шевече, він стую зі пташину, до гніздечка кличе. Ою гаю придунаю, там музика грає, пасхуде скрипка плаче, милий мій гуляє. Ой, чок-чок, і чок-чок-чок, там музика грає, пасхуде скрипка плаче, милий мій гуляє. Ой, чок-чок, і чок-чок-чок, там музика грає, басу, де скрипка плаче, милий мій гуляє. Ою гаю придунаю, стою самотою, плачу, тужу, ще ридаю, милий за тобою. Ой, чок-чок, і чок-чок-чок, та музика грає, пасуде, скрипка плаче, милий мій гуляє. Ой, чок-чок, і чок-чок-чок, соловей шевече, він стую в пташину, до гніздечка кличе, до гніздечка кличе.
Thank you. Well, it's not every day I'm in Kentucky. I'm from Ohio, and it's pretty close, but I don't get down here a whole lot. I often go east, play in a band in Philly, and I have lots of friends out east. So I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you, Barb, for having me up, and thanks everybody for welcoming me into your jams and whatnot. I'm going to sing a song I learned from Gene Ritchie. It's another just unaccompanied song. Don't get to sing it very often. Feel like this might be the right crowd, so we'll give it a shot. It was in the merry month of May, when the green buds they were swelling, young William Green on his deathbed lay, for the love of Barbary Ellen. He sent his servant to the town, to the place where she was dwelling. Your master's sick and he sends for you, if your name be Barbary Ellen. Well, slow lies, she got up, and slow lies she drew nigh him. But oh, she said when she got there, young man, I believe you're dying. Well, yes, I'm low, I'm very low, and the death is on me dwelling. No better I never will be, without the love of Barbary Ellen. Well, don't you remember in yonder stand, drinking, you passed your drink to the ladies all around, but not to Barbary Ellen. Oh, yes, I remember in yonder stand, in the yonder stand, drinking. I gave a toast to the ladies all around, but I skipped o'er Barbary Ellen. Well, he turned his pale face to the wall, for the death was on him dwelling. Adieu, adieu, my good neighbors all. Adieu, sweet Barbary Ellen. Now as she crossed across the fields, she heard them death bells knelling, but all she heard when that death bell sang, hard-hearted Barbary Ellen. Oh, mother, go make my grave. Go dig it both wide and narrow, for young William Green's died for me today, and I'll die for him tomorrow. Well, he was buried 'neath the old church tower, and she was buried all night
old church tower till they could grow no higher. And they grew in tide in a true lover's knot. Red rose and green, green briar. Thank you. Some downer songs. But we're in the business of that, I think. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of things I could do. I think I'll play an original song for you. I'm going to play with the pick. Not feeling the fingers. Good morning, my Ohio. I chose to wake up slow. Enjoyed a coffee on the porch of my father's home. Lately I've been rambling, my heart and mind and soul. Been a year almost to the day I let myself come home to myself. I've still never been alone. The world is different now. I see with different eyes. A revolutionary thought to seek a treasure prize. Oh, I'm here to whisper what you avoided all along. Stay reminded to write and sing your own song. It's what we wanna hear. An endless font of turmoil. Whatever you believe, your jugular's popping, buddy. Don't forget to breathe. I'm here to whisper what you avoided all along. Stay reminded to write and sing your own song. It's what we wanna hear. It's what we wanna hear. It's what we wanna
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, random smattering of music, but I'm just going to be here tonight. Unfortunately, I can't stay the rest of the weekend, but let's play tunes tonight. I'll be up late, hopefully.
Thank you, Benya. That was unique and enjoyable. So good things. Up next, I think is Asa, Duffee, and Linda Scutt. Not unknown to the festival. Are you going to sit? Okay. Well, I'll let you set your own stuff up. I just thought I'd mention we have, of course, 2 more days of fun and music. Tomorrow we have an open stage at 1, the banjo gathering at 2, and the dulcimer gathering at 3. And then the concert in the evening starts at 7. So.
I think we got it.
And do we have another instrument coming? No, he was just checking with you.
I think it's just us,
Okay.
as far as I know.
Okay, well, I'm pleased to bring, to have Asa Duffee, who lives in Yellow Springs, and Linda, who lives in Springfield, Ohio.
All right. Asa happens to be my son, who's come to the festival since he was less than 1.
Yeah, since 1991. Mom, what was the first year that you came to the festival?
Oh, don't ask me. Ask Barb.
1976.
We had a mutual friend in Farmersville that said, you need to come to this festival. And he had heard of JP and Anna Dean and said, you need to come. And we came, and we've come ever since.
Yeah.
Okay, what are we playing?
All right, so we're going to give you a couple tunes tonight, 2 sets of tunes. So we're going to start out with Banish Misfortune, nice jig, and Into the Eminence Reel.
Okay.
All right.
Speaking, we love the international, the Ukrainian thing, the song. That was beautiful. So we're going to stay a little international here. But the second tune that Ace and I are going to play, I call the Eminence Reel, which I learned as a Missouri tune, and he learned it as an Irish tune called the Merry Blacksmith. But it's the very same tune. What key is this in? D, thank you. we're playing again?
All right, we're going to play two reels, Morning Star
Morning Star
and Swinging on a Gate.
and Swinging on a Gate. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, two very talented friends of mine. I'm proud to call them friends. And up next we have Andrew Bevan, accompanied by Doug Smith. Andrew lives outside Waynesville, I guess, or Clarksville, Ohio, something like that. And we're glad to have him here. And I'll turn it over to you, Andrew.
Sure I have the right key.
Which one play?
Lonely Yukon Stars. Lonely Yukon stars gleaming high in the sky, scattered careless and loving by an artist on high. To their silent song the sighing wind adds its part, a song that can only be heard by the heart. Northern lights that hang pale curtains of fire lead me to the one waiting warm by the fiery. Blithely goes the moon on its melancholy way, guiding me homeward as night becomes day. Thank you. Miss Molly? Go ahead and, yeah. Have you seen Miss Molly? Her cheeks are rosy red, her lips are soft as satin, and they taste like gingerbread. Whoa, 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 me, oh my Miss Molly, I'm in love with you. Me, oh my Miss Molly, won't you say you love me too? I'll trade my horse and saddle, cow driving, I'll resign. If only you, Miss Molly, would say that you'll be mine. Whoa, 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 me, oh my Miss Molly, I'm in love with you. Me, oh my Miss Molly, won't you say you love me too? Listen here, Miss Molly, I've told you this before, and though I said it many times, I'll tell you just once more. Whoa, 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 me, oh my Miss Molly, I'm in love with you. Me, oh my Miss Molly, won't you say you love me too? Sorry, I threw you through a loop there at the end. Sorry, I threw you for a loop there at the end. And last one we'll do is Salute the Kashuma. We'll have Barb and Linda come up because it sounds much better when they're playing too.
Sticking with more international, right? A little higher.
How's this go again?
You can do it in your sleep.
Sure. Okay, we'll do it like that. All right.
We'll come in, we promise.
As you slowly back off to the side.
All right. Thanks, Andrew, Bevan, Doug Smith, myself, Barb Coons, and Linda Scutt on that last piece. Yeah, well, it's one of our faves from JP. Okay, up next we have Matthew Stallard and family, Grant, Eden, and guest Benya.
Your mic okay? You can point it out. Howdy, my name is Matthew Stallard. Grew up near Ashland, Kentucky. I went to every Fraley Festival the first 20 years of my life, even before it was here at Carter Caves. My parents took me, and my father was a barber in Ashland, and J.P. Fraley was one of his customers. And so I learned how to fiddle from J.P. in the barber shop, starting off, and got to know JP and Anadine very well, and fiddled in their homes several times, when I was a kid, and grew up, had adult responsibilities, so it's been a long time since I've been back, and I'm glad to be back here. So I'm going to play some hoedowns for you. All right, Grant, go ahead. Thank you very much. That tune, if you liked it, was on my new album, my new June Apple Records album called Hobe, which is a tribute to the music of my grandfather, Hobart Stallard. Hobart was good friends with JP and Anadine, and they had arranged for my grandfather to be field recorded by Mark Wilson, who had produced their album, Wild Rose of the Mountain, back in the 1960s. And so we're very blessed to have hours and hours of my grandfather's music that was recorded by Mark, and so I've been mining that for that album and future albums. But yeah, so it's a real privilege to be associated with June Apple. You may know that they're kind of on hard times right now. Apple Shop got demolished by the flooding in eastern Kentucky, and they do a lot of really, really good things for the people in eastern Kentucky. And so if you're inclined to donate to a charity, Apple Shop is a good one to do, and they're doing a lot to help rebuild the community of Whitesburg and the surrounding areas there in eastern Kentucky. I'm going to do another eastern Kentucky tune. This one's from Snake Chapman, who of course was good friends with J.P. Fraley, And this one's called Boating Up Sandy. Thank you. I need to introduce who's up here with me. This is my niece, Eden Thomas. Eden's been playing the clawhammer for about a year. She takes lessons from Hillary Burhans, who lives nearby. She's a great player, and Eden's doing awesome. This fellow wearing the Led Zeppelin t-shirt is my son, Grant, and my faithful accompanist. And Grant also was on my Hobe album, too, with June Apple. He played on every single track, did a good job. And this is Ben Stewart, who you already know, the great Ukrainian folk singer from Athens, Ohio. All right, so we're going to play one more for you, and this is a J.P. Fraley favorite. One of the first fiddle tunes that I ever learned. And it's his version of Liza Jane, which is a little different than maybe 3 or 4 different versions in Kentucky that people will play that are called by that name, but I think it's the best one. We'll try to do it some justice here.
much.
It was really good to hear from Matthew Stallard and group, and vigorous string band music. Well, we follow that up. Oh, the band is not doing anything. Okay. Well, we follow that up by the Corndrinkers when we get ready.
There. All right. I want to give a shout out to Paul Tierney up in the tent up there doing all the sound. Thank you, Paul. We have fancy lights. We have party lights.
Yeah,
The upgrades are just endless around here.
Yeah, the yellow lights are really
a good
wild.
party.
Yeah. And really a shout out to the Carter Caves. They really do a lot to support this, and I couldn't do it without them. Paul and the folks do a great job.
And with a smile on their faces.
Absolutely.
Where's that banjo man?
He's coming. He's coming. We forgot to warn him.
Well, Thursday nights, opening night, I think it has a pretty good feel. What do you think? Yeah, it's a
Can I
good
say
portent.
And one reason is because of the great audience. Thanks so much for being here and for coming. It's really great to see you again.
Got it.
Yeah, good. What are we starting with?
Let's start with Lone Prairie. Missing from the festival this year, I felt like Doug got a little choked up about it, was Bodie Morgan and her husband Jennings, who have been here for all the years that we've been coming here, and she passed away.
In October, last year.
And we were very inspired by a lot of their Western songs that they did. So we're going to start out one called The Lone Prairie.
I'm a lonesome cowboy, far away from home, far from the prairie I used to roam, where the doggies wander and the wind blows free. My heart lies yonder on the lone prairie. Oh, carry me back to the lone prairie, where the coyotes howl and the wind blows free. And when I die, you can bury me 'neath western skies on the lone prairie. Saddle, give me back my robe, give me back my pony, riding at a low. Let me place my blanket by a peaceful stream, hear the cowboys singing by the campfire's gleam. carry me back to the lone prairie where the coyotes howl and the wind blows free. And when I die, you can bury me 'neath western skies on the lone prairie. Oh, carry me back to the lone prairie where the coyotes howl and the wind blows free. And when I die, you can bury me 'neath western skies on the lone prairie. Thank you.
We're going to do a medley of two tunes, Belvedere's hornpipe and Atlanta hornpipe, and they're in the key of F, if anybody cares. Evergreen. You guys, we could scoot
Joe
over.
Cook, you still here? Mary Ellen Carter, that was worth waiting for. I enjoyed it. That was good. Glad you came back to it. Can I tell a story about, now, Barbara Allen? You heard that, Barbara Allen, today. Now, there was a guy on radio in Chicago in the 1920s, a guy named Bradley Kincaid. Sensation all over the country singer from Berea, Kentucky. And his big hit was Barbara Allen. And one time, he was a young man at the time, and now his wife was one of his students at Berea. He also taught there. So, but that's neither here nor there. They had it was 1929, and they had a kid at the hospital. And you got to think about radio in 1920s. I don't know if you had a relatives listening to radio then, but it was a real intimate affair in a lot of ways. The people on the radio, the stars on the radio, we'll call them stars, the personalities on the radio, people thought they were part of the family. You know, it was, you were inviting someone into your home. When you turned on the radio, you were inviting them into your home, and people had a real interest in the personal lives of the people on stage. So everybody was just thrilled when Bradley Kincaid, he called in from the hospital, and he had a little girl, 1929, and his big hit was Barbara Allen, so he named her Barbara. So everybody, you know, all the listeners were calling in saying, oh, what a great thing this is. You know, everybody's very pleased about it. And about 20 minutes later, he called back in and said, well, guess what? It was a twin. So he called the twin, he called her, instead of Barbara Allen, he called her Aline. So it was Barbara Aline after the song Barbara Allen. That's my story. I'm going to stick with it.
Stick to it.
Are we doing Evergreen?
Evergreen, yeah.
We'll sing out of this one, I think. We'll do a song that these guys used to play with a banjo player. Used to come around here as a two-finger banjo player by the name of Will Keyes from East Tennessee. We call it East Tennessee. Can we do that? Okay. And he was quite a personality. He always played with a derby hat on, and he's passed away now for 20 years probably. It's getting there. Anyway, it was quite a personality, and we always enjoyed him here at the festival. We learned this song from him. We'll call it, it's either called Evergreen or Mountain Laurel. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Like a mountain laurel in the grove deep, our love is forever green. Like a mountain laurel in the grove deep, I'll find you again. Where the mountain breezes blow, oh, there's
long ago, long ago.
Thank you so much.
All right. That concludes our show. Thank you so much for coming to the first night of the 50th Annual Fraley Festival of Traditional Music.